welcome. Well, the new expansion for Hearthstone has been released, and I decided to accumulate a fair bit of gold over the last, I don't know how many expansions. But today we'll be opening up 227 Rise of Shadow packs. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. Simple math says that we should get around 6 to 8 legendaries. We'll see if we get lucky. If there's any really exciting cards, we'll talk about them as we go through. But I will do a card assessment later. Nothing super exciting there. A lot of folks like to give 1 to 5 rankings, but they do that on the fly when they first get revealed, which I find to be, well, it's fun little clickbait. It's not exactly useful. Plot twist within that previous pack will be a lot of fun. That Warlock pack, or plot twist deck, is going to be really enjoyable to play. But I think that when people do card reveals, like the singular card reveals to stoke interest that Blizzard does when they get other streamers to take a look, that does make sense. Getting people interested, you know, every time an expansion wanes down and a new one comes out, so they're trying to build interest. But when everyone just gives, you know, 15 different videos of one card at a time of, you know, their opinion, I don't find those that great. Let's see, Arcane Fletcher. Okay. So I will do a just giant grouping at the end of all the cards that are coming out this expansion, what my verdict on them are for new players, and specifically how they could work together. Ooh. Hey, well, that legendary is probably not going to be that great, mostly because it's so slow. I know, I'll explain that a little bit more when we do the full list of all the cards and we do a review of them and we talk about what makes one good or what makes one less beneficial for certain decks or for certain archetypes. Okay. Now, I've never looked, but I've always wondered why Blizzard just doesn't have a mass unpack. Ah, okay. Keeper. That one will be quite useful since it's a choose one, and it is just for spells. So we'll have to take a look at all the available choose one spells that Druid has that we can take advantage of. I should really change my card back. I still have the Corrupted Blood of Hakar card back from last time. Golden Epic. Ooh. Okay. That's fine. Let's see. Golden Rare. Only 210 to go. Well, we're at 2 legendaries so far, so we'll try and keep track of that. I am notoriously bad at remembering how many of either a legendary or a certain card that I wanted when I'm opening packs, because mainly I don't write down or pay attention to the ones I want, because I can just always find them in my collection later. Alright, let's see what else. So, new mechanic for this expansion is called Twin Spell, which I actually think is pretty useful. And they seem to have put the Twin Spell into archetypes that will actually use them or benefit from them. A notable example would be, oh, this is perfect, Ray of Frost, a mage spell. Where you can freeze something for 1 mana, and then if it's already frozen, you deal 2 damage to it. So there's certain classes that obviously like spells more than others, mage being one of them. There's this twin spell for, oh, right here, for Paladin. That's also really quite useful. So it was nice that Blizzard is doing a much better job of designing how the cards interact, or the classes that actually use a card. It means there's less dead on arrival cards. Yeah, obviously someone on Hearthstone or elsewhere will come up with a inventive way to combine a card or create a meme deck. Perhaps one of the most fun was the use in Warlock, where you could do Blood Boil and then Doom destroy half your deck on the first turn if you had the coin. That was full of hilarious memes because you could just let's just destroy half our decks for each of us. There's some other interesting mechanics that they brought out in this Rise of Shadows expansion. Ooh, a golden legendary, Barista Lichen. Oh, I want to say Lichen. Golden legendary is always nice to get, although once again, having something being gold doesn't really amount to anything. Yes, it could be more dust if you dust it, but most of the time, there's very few people who are actually collecting enough cards that extra golds will matter, because by the time you get extra golds, you've already probably completed the vast majority of your set in the meantime. Anyway, they're always just a nice little mechanic. But anyway, that's 3 legendaries so far. Faceless Rager is a card that I actually really like. It's exceptionally strong in Silence Priest, which I do think is going to be one of the classes, class decks that I will really enjoy playing. It's actually really quite nice that, considering everything that Priest has lost with the last year disappearing, these cards, what they've introduced is actually kind of a new fun way to play. I'm sure Resurrect Priest still exists. You can still have some other interesting control priest deaths, but the Silence Priest sounds like a lot of fun. That was a very big up and down right there, where there's a golden comment. It's like, oh, I don't really care. Now, some cards did rotate out, or they rotated to wild. I don't typically play wild, mostly because I didn't play for the first at least 2 years of Hearthstone. So a lot of the fun parts of wild is getting to play the old cards that you used to play all the time. Well, I never had that experience. So, but now that things like Ungoro and Frozen Throne have rotated, I actually would be like, hey, I remember that card. I'd like to play it again. It's always fun to watch other streamers like Tice. He's been around for a while. Kibler's been around for a while. Although Kibler, as far as I know, does not play wild. Tice is the only one that I've seen. Tice and Disguised Toast are the only ones who've done it. Murloc Shaman seems really good. All the games I've seen of it so far, it hasn't been very impactful. But it's definitely going to be something to try, because turning any Murlocs into 1 mana is just going to be super fun to do. Anyway, so yeah, Disguised Toast and Tice seem to be the ones who enjoy playing wild the most. And it's always interesting to watch, especially Tice, because he's been playing the game since the beginning. And so he recognizes the other cards. He can tell you about the interactions between cards. So it's insightful, but it just doesn't seem fun to play to me. It would be fun to create random wild decks and see what you could do, but generally people who are playing wild are people that are either there to crush other people with an overpowered deck, or to have a lot of fun. And there's no kind of in between, so the people who are trying to do a meme or a fun deck, as they call them, nothing happens. So 4 legendaries so far, which is a pretty good rate considering we're only 170 packs in. Epic, yay! So one of the big things that rotated out were Baku and Gen. So getting rid of either cheaper or overpowered hero powers. Certain classes greatly benefited from that. Probably the most notable would have been Paladin, with the ability to get 2 1/1s with the hero power. Mage started using the hero power change last expansion. Other classes, like you never really saw Shaman use it. Even Warlock used it just to draw a little bit faster, but I don't think it greatly enhanced their ability either to win or lose games. They were just really powerful because of their cards. Contract would be a fun card to play in Rogue. So as we're going through this, I was hoping for a card that I could talk about right there, but none of those were really all that interesting to me. This one, Lackey. You see Lackey to your hand. That's a new card mechanic that will go into more detail as well. But essentially, lackeys are cheap little minions who do something. So certain classes have lackeys. Rogue is one of the more notable, or one of the more expected to gain lackeys. But essentially, you play a card that gets you a lackey, and then you have a lackey who does something else. So it's a small value generation card, but they're usually pretty cheap. But the lackeys really aren't bad. Like, they can deal damage, they can draw a card, they can do some other items. I believe right now there's 6 lackeys, but they'll continue to add more as they see how lackeys work in the meta. Now, I actually get to play in a slightly different meta than a lot of the streamers you see, unless they're changing where they're located. Because I'm based in Japan, and I get a different subset of players than other locations. So, say, Dexter and Chump, they're based in the States. They normally see more state players. Tice is in Europe, so he sees European players. Disguise and Kibler as well. And then those are the main ones, that English-speaking ones that I will mention. But pretty much all of them play on the US local servers. But me, being in Japan, means I get access to slightly different servers and the people I get to play with, so it's kind of amusing. My meta does not normally match what I see other people playing. There are certain exceptions where obviously Death Rattle Hunter was popular pretty much everywhere. So I saw that. Wall Priest as well became really popular when it exploded out of nowhere. As well, so that showed up in my meta. But then there's a lot of other things I either were really low played. Oh, another legendary that's probably not going to see a lot of play unless Hunter gets a few more spells. But with Zul'jin, it could be pretty decent. It is something I'd like to try. The problem is that that legendary gives you a bow to equip, and that bow increases your spell power. And it's not amazing for Hunter. It could be fun to buff up a certain spells, like say Baited Arrow. So instead of having to do 3 damage for overkill, all of a sudden you only 4, which helps you kill a lot more things, and you get that large minion on the board. And then when Zul'jin casts it later, maybe you'll get another one if you're lucky. I believe that was 5. Once again, I wasn't keeping track, so we'll see how that goes. Alright. So I only started playing Hearthstone see, what date is it? It's April 10th here in Japan. It would be just a little bit over a year ago where I started playing, because I needed something to fill my time when I was going to the hospital every single day. There's only so much Pokemon Go you can play in Japan when you're stuck in one location. Now, if you're out wandering around, Pokemon Go's tons of fun. Especially here in Japan, because there's just so many other people playing it. If there's a raid popping up, just go show up. There ought to be 20, 40, 60 people there just doing it. So it's a lot of fun to play here. But when you're stuck in one single location, you need something else to do. And Hearthstone was a... I've always liked card games. I did used to play Magic the Gathering semi-professionally when it was first released. I did play in the alpha beta era up through probably the fourth revision. I think is when I stopped playing. Like Ice Age came out, and then there was the fourth revision, and then I stopped playing. So that was a long time ago. Boom Reaver. Slow. Probably not going to be worth it unless you could play it out using Boom Ship. But then you lose your battle cry, same as if you use your Woe Cleaver. So it's just not a good legendary for pretty much any class, just because 10 mana, it would take forever to play. Yeah. We are just about halfway done with opening all the cards. And that would be 6 legendaries. So we are right on track. So like I said, the normal mechanism is that you should get, well, the first time with an expansion you should get a legendary within the first 10 packs. After that, it should be 1 legendary per every 40 packs. But as of right now, we've gotten 6 in 110 packs. Yeah, about 110 packs. So that's a pretty good rate. Almost 1 every 20. So we'll see how many we end up with, but 6 for the moment. Oh, that elemental for Shaman that has Lifesteal, Rush, and Wind Fury. That's going to be great. Going to be a whole lot of fun. Elemental Shaman doesn't really exist in the same way that it did the last expansion. I really enjoyed playing Elemental Shaman with Hagatha. That's just a fun deck to just play. But Hagatha Murloc might be something that's equally fun. Considering it's cheap little minions, you don't actually care about your totem hero power, so turning that with Hagatha will get you some good value. And the new spells, like, so old spells rotated out, and new Shaman spells rotated in, which will be pretty nice. Which I guess does bring something. I mentioned Zul'jin earlier, and then I just mentioned Hagatha. So most of the hero cards rotated out with the Frozen Thrones. Things like Dislocker, Rexar. But they did introduce some new hero classes. So Warrior still has Dr. Boom. Shaman, golden rare. Shaman has Hagatha. Hunter has Zul'jin. Missing anybody? I believe it's just those 3. Yeah, should be those 3. Which I actually do think will give those classes a slight edge if you can design a deck with the new cards around it. So for example, Balm Warrior works really well with Dr. Boom. Because a lot of the time, well, pretty much all of the Balm cards are mech cards. Zul'jin replays all of your spells again. There really aren't a lot of Hunter spells, but they're not terrible, because you still will be playing pretty much mid-range face hunter. And using spells either to attack their face or clear their board is good, and then if you play Zul'jin and clear it again, that's really quite useful. So, I don't think it's as good, but it'll be quite useful. And then Hagatha is just a really strong card. As long as you get it out early enough, like you want Hagatha sometime by around, you know, your 10th turn. But playing it on curve and then playing minions to just generate the shaman spell value, because shaman spells are usually quite good. There's a reason that Witch's Cauldron worked extremely well with Paladin last expansion, because you could just kill off your cheap little Paladin guys and get really, really beneficial shaman spells to either attack, attack face, buff your minions, clear a board. It was just overall very, very a good little synergy for the shaman spells. And so Blastmaster Boom will be quite useful, especially for the Bomb Warrior. That will be fun to play. So that was number 7, which I think that took about 30 packs that time. I might be wrong. Maybe that was more like 25. So I think we're still on like a 1 for 20 ratio at the moment. Rare. Good. Oh, wow. No one already. Madame Lazul. Okay. Not the best legendary, but it's really not that bad because it helps. That was number 8. That helps you, especially because it's 3 mana in the early game. It could help you figure out exactly what your opponent is playing. So, for example, let's say you're playing a warrior and they play the, just a standard rush car, and then they armor up turn 1, turn 2. Well, you know they're playing rush, but are they playing the dragon rush warrior? Are they playing bomb rush warrior? What's going on? Well, you play Madame Lazul, and all of a sudden you discover that, in their hand they have a bomb-related card. Okay, they're playing bomb warrior, so you gotta be prepared for them to be shuffling bombs in, things like that. So it's a nice little card. I'm trying to remember the previous expansion card that. Chameleos is also a fun little discover card because it changes into one of their cards each turn. That helps you reveal things. Ooh. Hecklebot. Hecklebot is fantastic. Pulling a card out of their hand will be very useful for things, at least with Mechathune. For Hakar, not so useful, since Hakar still shuffles things into your deck. Let's see. Now, everyone who plays Hearthstone would have gotten another legendary called Vargoth, which at the end of the turn, he casts a spell that you already cast that turn. So you have to be wary. If you cast 2 spells, then it's a 50-50 chance. 3 spells, 33%. So, if you know there's something that you want to cast again, it's useful to only cast 1 spell per turn, and then you have him. We've got that one before. Obviously, in the interim between when that card was given to everyone on April 4th, I believe it was April 4th or April 6th, and then when the expansion was officially released and so all the old cards rotated out, there were just tons of little fun. This is going to be a fantastic Mech Hunter card, so that's great. I believe that's 10. 10, I believe. Now, what was I saying? Oh, so Vargoth and all the fun decks that people were putting together just for kicks. They were really enjoyable to watch, but I chose not to play during that period, mostly because it didn't. For me, I played to try and climb up to Legend, and it didn't seem a good point to play against decks that you wouldn't be actively playing in a competitive sense in a few days' time. So I didn't play, which, you know, maybe I missed out on some hilarity, but I enjoyed my time catching up and doing other things. Oh, that Shaman card that you just saw there at the bottom, where basically you give a death rattle to your minions of summoning 1/1 Murlocs. So it's a nice anti-board clear. And once again, it'll be quite useful in Murloc Shaman. The few times I saw it during the Blizzard reveal with the mainstreamers, it didn't seem that useful, but I kind of believe that was because the mainstreamers, they always play competitively. They have a much better understanding of the game than a lot of us lay people do. And one of the big things they understand is that with Murlocs, you just gotta kill them. It's more important to just keep their board clear than anything else. Golden Common. Like this summons Murloc. You just gotta kill them. So I believe there was one game between Kibler and Trump, and that's all Trump did. All Trump did was just kill off Kibler's Murlocs, and so then by turn 6 or 7, Kibler had exhausted his supply of Murloc cards to play out, and so then Kibler could just switch from killing the minions to killing Kibler. I don't remember some of the decks that Allie played. I know she played the Bomb Warrior. She also played a Mage deck. And Mage has a new card that gives you random spells back based off the number of spells you played in the turn. And I have not looked at the list of which spells rotated out for Mage, but that's going to play a role on really how valuable that card is. I think it gave her a Pyroblast, and then she used that to kill someone in her stream. So, it's not bad. Because, yeah. Oh, that's a good card with one of the... Oh, I don't have that. There's another, I believe it's a legendary mage card. We'll take a look. That works really well with the new 8 mana legendary spell. Summoning extra creatures or beasts or whatnot for your board is always good. Alright. No, this is for Mage Minion. I'll see if I can find the mage card I'm talking about when we play through. So I think we're still sitting at 10, which is still pretty good. 10 is kind of what I was aiming for out of opening all these. So anything over 10 is, well, really anything over 6 was pretty good luck. But any more than 10 is a good level for what I wanted. To at least start out the expansion to make as many interesting decks as possible. Plus, with a lot of the old cards rotating out and then some cards getting Hall of Famed, it's basically where they take cards. Ooh, 11. Oh no, I want the Rafam one where you turn your Warlock deck into all legendaries, which just seems hilarious to play. Whether or not it would be useful, it'll just be fun. A lot of fun to play. It's essentially a way to get like a free deck, kind of like Whizbang was. Let's see. Magic Carpet. I don't think it's a good card. I just think it's kind of a fun card, so I want to play it. Plot twist. Once again, plot twist is going to be a lot of fun to play with Warlock. Crippler was also at the opening event at Blizzard, and I don't believe he discovered it. I think one of his followers found it, and they talked about how to turn plot twist into a fun little mechathune. One-turn kill, OTK. And I do believe it is cheaper to pull off than the Blood Boom Cataclysm Galvanizer combo was. But it's still pretty telegraphed. Draw on that kind of deck. Oh, that'll be useful. So I believe we're at 11 legendaries right now. This is going to be a good mech. Basically, any top minion that summons another top minion is great. Kind of like there's two priest taunts that when they die they kill an opponent's minion, which is fantastic. Now the Obsidian statue rotated out, but they got the new one, which is a 2/6/5 mana. I've seen it. I don't remember the name. We'll see if it appears at some point. Heal Druid doesn't look amazing, but I think it'll be entertaining to give it a try. Mostly because I don't know if Heal Druid has ever been a thing. Most people all either talk about Big Druid, or they had Taunt Druid, or they had Mill Druid, or Togwaggle, or Malago. Like, I guess when I first started playing, Druids were nothing but top tier. Like, they had 4 decks that were all top tier at one point. And so they destroyed some of their ability, which makes sense, because you want other decks to be competitive. But it's also interesting to have them basically try and create a new Druid archetype this one related around healing, so not bad. There, it's sun has gone down here. Okay, let's see what else we got. Improve morale. Nope. Well, I think we've had about 20 decks now and no legendary. So getting back to normal, which is fine. We've already exceeded our expected ratio. And I did pre-purchase some of their bundles. I normally use Amazon coins to make the purchases because you normally get Amazon coins for cheaper. But that also gave me a couple legendaries, of which I have forgotten what they were as well. Golden. Proud Defender is actually going to be pretty useful. It seems like a nice little replacement for Tar Creeper, although Tar Creeper was 3 mana. That one is 4. Oh, there's a card up here in the right-hand corner side. That was the priest one that kills an opponent's minion after it dies from the death rattle. Alright. 16 more card packs to go. Oh, there we go. That's number 12. Katrina Murta. Oh, yes. That's going to be a lot of fun. Just imagine that in Wall Priest. You have a creature that dies, and then you just resummons your nice taunt that died. Especially good with Grizzlies or the big ogres, whose name I have forgotten. The 2/14 with Divine Spirit taunt. So yeah, Resurrection or Wall Priest will still be a thing. The new Resurrection spell is more expensive and not as good. Just generally, Resurrection Priest is not as good. Same with Wall Priest because Shadow Vision's rotated. The ability to find extra copies of your priest spells was pretty insane, especially for things like, you know, Mind Blast or ooh, 2 epics. Nice. Oh, double Magic Carpet. I guess that makes me happy since I like Magic Carpet. Click, click, click. Rare. Cool. That was the one right there again. I'm not spending the time to look at it, but alright. Almost to the end. And I'll have to find out which ones I am missing and figure out if I'm gonna craft the whole set this time. I don't think we got any rogue legendaries. One of them is the Togwaggle one. Or his full name, which I cannot pronounce properly. Secret Paladin is going to be probably a pain to play against. I don't normally play Paladin all that much. So we'll see. Alright, last pack. Any magic? No, no, no. Oh, okay. So 12 legendaries plus 2 for max, so 14. That's pretty good. Alright. Well, that was it. Probably wasn't the most entertaining thing, but you just got to see a whole bunch of packs get opened. Next video we'll be going over every single card in the new Rise of Shadows expansion. And I'll give a review of them, along with, I guess, they won't be individual cards, they'll be considered in comparison with the set, not with other expansion sets though. Mostly because it's interesting to look at the synergies within the new cards that come out. What supports what doesn't, what's just unique by itself. Alright, well, thank you again for watching, and until next time.